What's up, everybody? We are back on another episode of Pound for Pound. I am the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
A Shadow Line production.
Breaking news, guys. UFC 313 is in jeopardy. I mean, the co-main event, I think the people's fight that the people really wanted to see, that everybody lined up around the block for, that everybody been swiping their credit cards for, breaking the bank to go to Vegas to watch, is in jeopardy. Dan Hooker versus Justin, the highlight Gaethje, is officially off. Dan Hooker unfortunately broke his hand, and now the Henry, the problem and the task is trying to find a worthy adversary for a guy like the highlight, Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of names being thrown around, Henry. They even threw in Henry, one-eye monster, pause. it even was thrown around, but there's been some names being swirled around on who could potentially step in there on last-minute notice and potentially go to war with Justin Gaethje, Henry.
Yeah, I think this is where Kamaru, obviously, this is where Armin Sarukian could step in and rebuild that relationship with the UFC and potentially fight for the title if he does get a victory over Justin Gaethje. I mean, if I am Armin Sarukian, I am raising my hand. I'm like, Uncle Dana, I know you guys are all pissed at me. I know you guys didn't believe my back injury, just like they don't believe my damn eye. Let me fight him and let me go out there, and if I do get a victory, let me and Islam Makhachev go at it. In international fight week, I believe that's what they're talking about sometime in June. So I do feel, yeah, we already seen Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. We've already seen Charles Oliveira. We already seen Justin Gaethje versus Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway. I mean, we already seen it against Michael Chandler. I mean, the only logical fight that really makes sense is two guys, but it's only one guy, and I'm about to say it has to be Armin Sarukian. You know, this is the way that Armin doesn't have to. He's one fight away, Kamaru, to fight for the title if he does get a victory over Justin Gaethje. Now, will he beat him? You know, that is yet to be known. Justin Gaethje is problematic for anybody. I remember when Justin Gaethje fought Fiziev, bro, I really thought that Fiziev was gonna put it on him, dude, on the feet. That wasn't the case, man. The highlight is just different. But if Armin Sarukian wants to make it right with the UFC, he needs to raise his hand. He needs to take it on a 2-week notice and actually try to get the job done.
Okay, Henry. Now here's the challenges to what you just said. I like it. I like all the sentiments, but Armin Sarukian was scheduled to fight for the world lightweight title. Had the appropriate time. Did the full training camp. Did the full training camp for it, but we from the inside we know there were some things that transpired that he couldn't get there. So unfortunately, now asking Armin Sarukian to fight a guy like Justin Gaethje on less than 2 weeks' notice and make the weight at 155 pounds? Come on, Henry. I think that's a tall order. That's a tall order. And listen, not everyone is built the same, Henry. I want to tell you that right now. A lot of people like to do what my big brother Sugar Rashad Evans used to say all the time, and that's sell wolf tickets. A lot of people love to sell wolf tickets. A lot of people love to jump on Twitter. Yeah, I'm going to take that. Yeah, Dana, call me. But when the calls start ringing, then excuses start coming. Well, I haven't been training. Well, give me 2 months. I'll be ready. No, the call is less than 2 weeks. Can you step up, make that weight, and go out there and do what you got to do?
Yeah.
Where are those guys? And listen, I like looking at the names, looking at the rankings. Yes, if someone was to step in, Dustin Poirier, everyone would love to see that. That's a banger. Max Holloway, that's a banger. But to ask these guys who are relatively bigger and they all have lives of their own. They have families and things like that. Max Holloway lives in Hawaii. To ask him to come in and cut the weight and take a fight like that, that's a tall order to ask. Same with Dustin Poirier. Unfortunately, Dan Hooker's out. Michael Chandler, I mean, they could call him, but Michael Chandler is also one of those guys that has a lot of muscle on him. So to ask him in less than 10 days to get down there, that's a tough one.
I got one for you, Kamaru Usman, and I think you may like it. And he's fought one of you guys' teammates and beat him. I'm talking about the fight nerd, Gene Silva. Gene Silva has put his name in the hat. Yeah, he's a 45er, but bro, this dude can crack, and at 155 pounds, bro, I don't care who you are on the feet, Gene Silva is a problem. So you're right, man. And maybe it won't be Poirier. Maybe it won't be Max Holloway. But there's a guy that just got done fighting and struggles to make at 155 pounds. And plus, he also beat Justin Gaethje's teammate and Drew Dober, dude. He did a number on him.
But
So if there's one
let's
fight
be
that I would
realistic,
say,
Henry. Be realistic. Be realistic.
you don't think?
He's
You
not
don't
in
think
the
that's
rankings.
realistic? Everybody's talking about it.
No,
Kamaru.
that absolutely is not realistic. Jean Silva, what is John is ranked what at featherweight? What is he ranked at featherweight?
At featherweight, I don't even know if he's ranked.
Exactly. So then, and a lightweight, you want to throw Jean Silva in there with the guy, number 3 guy in the world who still wants to fight for that title? I mean, come on, we have to kind of be realistic here. And all due respect, Jean Silva is dangerous. I love to watch him fight. He's a savage. He's a savage. And obviously we all know, big shout out to that team over there at Fight Nerds. They've been putting out some amazing product lately. Jean Silva is one of those products. He's a rising star, but for Justin Gaethje, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This is literally wanting to. I can't even say this is a Apollo Creed Rocky story here. No, because Jean Silva is a savage, but at the same time, if you're just nowhere near the rankings, it just doesn't make sense. We have to still make it make sense for a guy like Justin Gaethje, because let's say we're throwing Jean Silva. Him beating Jean Silva, does this get him a title shot? No. So we still want something that's going to get him there.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, Kamaru. I feel like anytime, anywhere, that type of attitude, Dana and Hunter Campbell, they like that shit. So I'm
do.
gonna have to
I
disagree
understand
with you, and I'm gonna say that anybody that they give Justin Gaethje, because he is the highlight and he hasn't fought Islam Makhachev, that would be the fight to make, man. I really don't have an issue with Jean Silva, particularly because he's been knocking everybody out in that fashion, and not just that, Kamara, but he called for it. So it's not like I'm bringing up his name, making it's like, no, he says Dana White.
Okay, he called for that.
Dana White, I will fight Justin Gaethje. So what I'm saying is Justin Gaethje is fighting on Saturday, according to if he's healthy or not. It's up to him whether he wants to take a fight in a guy like Gene Silva, or potentially maybe wait for an Arman Sarukian. But I personally feel if I'm Arman Sarukian, this right now it isn't even about Justin Gaethje. It's about, is Arman Sarukian ready to raise that right hand and said, hey boss, let me make it up to you. And if he does that, man, that will do wonders for what my storyline says. If Sarukian is able to get in there, fight Justin Gaethje and win, Ilia Topuria, you're gonna have to move out the way. Now we're doing the number 1 contender versus the champ.
I agree with you. I think honestly, in any way to make it somewhat relatively, the playing field somewhat leveled, I think, because I think some of the guys that have been, calling, I think Renato Moicano has threw his name in there, which I think is a lovely fight if they can get that done. But it's a tall order. Justin Gaethje ain't just nobody now. He ain't just anybody. So I think Renato Moicano is on that short list. I think Rafael Fiziev is on that short list. They fought before. We know how that fight looked. It was a great fight. It's just anybody that Justin Gaethje fight is going to be a great fight. There's really no boring fight.
So now so check this out, Kamaru. Jalen Turner is also on that card. He's ranked number 13th. He's tall. He's scrappy. He's dangerous. I think that could be a potential fight. I mean, if you want to talk about numbers and rankings, Kamaru, if we're gonna make you happy, then it's gonna have to probably be Jalen Turner, dude. But I still go back and say number one for me, it does have to be Arma Saruki. He does need to raise that right hand. Two, I say maybe Jalen Turner, dude, number 13th. If you want to talk about rankings, but no, I'm gonna take that back. Two, I'm gonna go with Gene Silva. I like the fun fights, and I think the UFC respects that. Regardless if he's been knocking people out. He beat Justin Gaethje's training partner in a fashion where, it's no joke. So I just feel like that's how it is, dude.
I mean, you're right. I'm not gonna. I can't deny that. For me personally, I think the Gene Silva is kind of, I would say, maybe last option. Because at that point it's just a fun fight and it really means nothing for Justin Gaethje, except it's a lose situation for him because it doesn't elevate him in any way to potentially fight for that title. But listen, like I said, Henry, a lot of guys, I hate times like this because a lot of guys are gonna sell a lot of wolf tickets. I don't know who they trying to be tough for. I don't know what the game is, but they're all gonna come out of the woodworks and say, "Yeah, put me in, coach, put me in, coach. Let me fight." But then when the UFC gets real and goes, "Ring, ring, hey, would you like to step in and fight this fight? Can you make weight? Are you healthy?" And these guys are gonna go, well, can you give me like 2 months, 3 months? Maybe 2 months. I might be prepared. No, they called you now. You said you were ready. They called you now, so you got to be able to go in there. Or guys go, well, let's bump it up to 185 pounds. Like, bro, what? No. Yeah. If you can make it, we might slide. There's one thing you maybe ask for and say, hey, if I'm going to jump in here on short notice, UFC, Mick, Sean, Hunter, hey, can you slide me a little something, because I had some bills lined up. Slide me a little something extra. Let me do something, but not all guys are built the same. A lot of guys like to sell wolf tickets, but at the end of the day, listen, Henry, everyone's going to watch because this is Justin Gaethje, the highlight Gaethje. People are going to definitely tune in. So whoever it is, it's going to be a banger. It might be it might be one-eyed Triple C. Who knows? He's been itching to get in there.
Nah, but whatever the UFC decides to do, Kamaru, it's gonna be good, man. Because Justin will always deliver, whether he comes out with his hand raised or he loses. That dude people will always remember his fight. So whoever is at the UFC picks, there's gonna be violence on Justin Gaethje's side. So let's see what happens.
Here's my question. Quick question to you is, does this card lose tremendous value if Justin Gaethje is not on it?
Oh, 100%. If Justin Gaethje does not compete in it, it's almost like the card never existed.
Wow.
Shama.
Jesus.
Shama.
Wow. And you going to troll with this? Wow. Bro, why you always hating on my dog, Big Alex, dog? Why you always hating on my dog?
No.
Why you hit it with it's man, it's I like the card. I do like the card, but you are right, Henry. When Justin Gaethje exits that card, it greatly loses its stock and star power. It definitely does. But listen, I'm here for it. Justin, if he stays on that card, I'm here for it. If he's not on it, I agree with you, Henry. I think for you or you and your boy sitting over there in that room with you, I might go from spending that 79 to go ahead and being on the internet trying to look for something, trying to look for something. I ain't dry snitching or nothing. I'm just saying that's probably what y'all gonna be doing.
Okay, well we'll see, Kush. It's up to Uncle Dana and Campbell. Hunter Campbell. They're gonna come up with something good, dude. So regardless,
I
dude,
agree.
that's the beauty of the UFC is fighters are always on deck to scrap, dude. And typically when that happens, Kamaru, typically because the person that's going in, they know they're gonna lose more likely is they take risk and they wind up winning short notices. Not all the time, but the majority of the time. People don't know those statistics, so watch out, man. I'm excited for that. Obviously, I got my boy Gaethje. It's up to him to decide if he wants to fight that card, or maybe they say, hey, we put you on another card, and maybe you main event it. A lot of options.
A lot of fights just announced. Of course, UFC 314 going down in Miami, April 12th. Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopez has just been announced. And I mean, first of all, what a banging card. I think right now, this card right here is like it's a legit card. Of course, there's it's no superstars on Alexander Volkanovski, but it's a legit competitive card. You've got Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopez. You got Michael Chandler taking on Patty the Batty Pimlet. You've got Yair Rodriguez taking on UFC newcomer, but not new to the MMA world, in Patricio Pitbull. And then you've got Jeff Neal taking on one of my favorites in the welterweight division right now, Carlos Prates. And then you've got Dominic Reyes taking on Nikita Krylov. I think that is a banging main card right there. What do you think, Henry? I love that.
Yeah, no, this card is really, really good. I think the only fight that I would really change, and I would want to put Patricia Pitbull as a co-main event. I don't, Michael Chandler and Patty, dude. I just don't know, man. But it's a good fight, dude. I like it. I like it from top to bottom. Diego Lopez has got power in his hands too against Vogue. I mean, I don't know how you want to start this off. You want to go ba 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 or
no, I mean
Jeff Neal too, bro. Like, dude, do not sleep on dude. Jeff Neal beat Belal. He beat up Belal Mohammed when they fought. The dude is a real deal, man. Like, Jeff Neal is fucking good, man. He's also going up against Carlos Prates. I mean, this card is a banger, dude.
This card is a banger, and we will break down this card coming up on a different episode. We will break down the whole card. I want to really go in depth because I feel like this has been one of the cards that we can really go in depth at how these fights match up. I mean, you've got Carlos Prates taking on Jeff Neal. They're both southpaw. One's a longer guy. One is more compact, but got iron in his hands. Hence his name, Hands of Steel. So we'll break down this card later, but obviously, you know that Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez are fighting for that featherweight title, which now Ilia Topuria has officially vacated, Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a straight gangster and believing in yourself. And that's why I love the UFC. Guys aren't coming over here going, oh, yeah, I just want to hang on to this belt and hold this belt hostage. He said, nah, y'all could take that. I'm moving up to the next division because I think I'm so good. I am going to be the pound for pound fighter. I want the pound for pound guy at the next division. So, I mean, that's incredible what Ilia Topuria is doing right now, Henry.
Yeah, not just that too, Kamaru, but he gets big, bro. Ilia Topuria gets up to 190 pounds, man. So
really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they just did a little post on him. His coach did. He still has abs, bro. He was 187 pounds. Look it up on ESPN MMA. He's 187 pounds with freaking abs still. What I'm saying is I don't think size is going to be the difference in this fight against Islam, because that's more likely because what he did, I think Dana White's going to honor him and tell him, yep, check that out, dude. 187 pounds with abs, dude.
Jesus.
Like, I think he's gonna fill in really, really good at 155 pounds. And for whatever reason, he does end up losing because he did vacate that bout at 145 pounds. He could always come down and fight for that strap once again. So I felt like it was a great decision. But I also will say this about 145 pounds. That division is officially open now. With Max Holloway moving out of there and Ilia Topuria, the two top guys, like, dude, this weight class is open. It's anybody can go in there and pretty much become champ now. Where a lot of these
Is it official? Max Holloway is out of the division?
Yeah, well,
Completely?
he made it public. Max Holloway said that he
Right.
was going to go up to 155 pounds and just focus in on there. Yeah, he's made it public. But
Yeah.
you know, a lot of these guys they struggle to make weight, man. It sucks that as you get older, and you know this
Yeah.
Kamaru
Yeah.
dude, like making just your recovery time is just different, man. So it's better for you to feel better and feel good and actually go out there and compete. But what I'm excited about this card in Miami, UFC 314, is you know what I love about it, and the one that really is coming out to me is Yair Rodriguez versus Pitbull, because I do believe that the winner of this fight is going to fight for the title, bro, and particularly if either Yair or Patricia Pitbull, the winner of this fight is going to fight for that title, dude. So I feel like
I'm not so sold. I'm not so sold on that. I think one way. One way.
So who would it be? Mozart?
I think if Pitbull wins, potential and depending on how he wins, I think he's on the short list of potentially fighting for that title. But if Yair Rodriguez wins, he's fought for the title. He's got the interim title. I don't see him fighting for I don't see them giving him a title shot right away.
Yeah.
Especially, I think his last fight was a loss to Brian Ortega. So I just don't. Yeah, I don't see that. But Pitbull is a guy that has been around the sport for a long time, and if he does get that victory, I mean, being a champion at the different organization in Bellator, I think you give him that title shot to see if he can become a UFC champion for sure.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I mean, other than that, bro, that car is going to be a banger. I think you know
Banger.
Dana White has really dropped he dropped a lot of heavy weight there.
But let me ask you real quick, Henry. So since Ilia is moving up, what do you think he should be his first fight?
I
What do you think?
I think he should fight Islam Makhachev. I really do. I think when you knock out two guys like that, two first ballot Hall of Famers, 100% does he deserve it. But if he doesn't, he's gonna have to go the number one contender route. But also notice too that they offered him Arman Sarukian, or they had mentioned Arman Sarukian. They denied it. You know what I'm saying? Because Arman's nitty gritty, man. You know what I'm saying? So they wanna take the chances of fighting Islam Makhachev and trying to defeat him. And I tell you what, man,
Okay.
if Islam cannot take Ilia down, or if he doesn't take him down early, dude, it could be very problematic for a guy like Islam Makhachev because, dude, Ilia Topuria has a level. He level changes his striking, and I think he goes high, he goes low, he goes low, he goes high. And I think so. I think that's the fight that the UFC is going to make, and I feel like because Islam Makhachev has that quote at the UFC PI, I'll take down anybody, anytime, anywhere. It's just up to the UFC to say, all right, man, this is a date, and I do believe that that's what they're working on now. So I think there could be a potential rematch. So where does that leave? Where does that leave Charles Oliveira and Arman Sarukian, the number one contender? You know what it is, Kamaru? It's a damn rematch. I think they are going to book Islam versus Topuria sometime, maybe International Fight Week. From what I believe, I know Ramadan was a big discussion there. I know it's going to be. I want to say it's over in April, if I'm correct. So April, May. So we're looking at sometime in June for Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev.
Whoo! I agree. I love it. I think the consensus was, and I see the holdup for Islam. Islam's hangup was, why do I need to fight a featherweight again? And so people will continue to talk trash and say, "Oh, all your defenses were featherweights. Why do I need to do that anymore?" But I think with Ilia Topuria vacating and saying, "I ain't no featherweight no more. I'm a lightweight now," 1000%, he's next in line for that title shot. When you didn't give it to Arman Sarukian, let's be clear here. Arman Sarukian has earned that title shot, but he squandered it with whatever injury, whatever happens, allegedly. So right now, I believe that Ilia Topuria is the next best guy for that title shot. But listen, and I don't know. I wasn't in the room when these guys must have had this conversation, but you tell me, Arman Sarukian, will you fight Ilia Topuria? I'm gonna say no too. Because if these guys are operating with the same
You're
principles that
talking
I
about Ilia.
operated
You're
with,
talking about Ilia.
Ilia, yes. If they're saying Ilia, you fight the number one contender, Arman Sarukian, I'm gonna turn that down too. Because like I'm saying, Henry, if they're operating with the same basically logic and where I was coming from when I was champion, they're both Georgian. At such a significant, like, what a time to have 3 Georgian champions. 3. That's well, that would be incredible. So of course I would say, yeah, I wouldn't want to fight a fellow Georgian because there's only 3 or 4 of us in the UFC and 3 of us have a potential to be champions. No.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but
if they're not,
I think
if
are
they're saying
are
one or
you
the
saying
other,
that Armin is Georgian?
yeah. Armin, he's got Georgian ties.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got Georgian ties. You know, you've got Marab. You've got, he's Armenian. He's got, listen, I I think that's a reason to say, you know what, I don't necessarily want that fight right now. But listen, like Armin said when he was sitting in this chair, when you become champion, I just want to make money, brother. So at that point, it gets to the point where, hey, you have to make those hard decisions. But as of right now, if you can go around it, Ilia Topuria, I believe, is definitely next. You put him up there because Islam needs a new face. And I honestly, I believe this is the biggest fight that you can make for Islam. And I think Islam deserves that. Islam has worked. He's put time in. I believe he needs that big fight to put him there. And I think this is the fight to put him there
Okay.
to where he's a standalone champion,
Yeah.
So I like it. If you like it, let's call the UFC and say, hey, let's book it, Henry.
I mean, there's so much news too. I mean, Belal Mohammed saying that he will never fight Islam. I do believe that a victory because I do believe that these guys, these Russians, they want to retire young, bro. They don't want to be fighting at our age, Kamaru Dean. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to.
Right.
The biggest thing that I remember, Khabib always told me is like at the age of 33, like that's when everybody should be done. Like no more than 33. I retire before 33. So, what does that lead? A victory over Ilia Topuria for Islam. I do believe that he's gonna try to conquer that second weight division at 170 pounds. Belal Muhammad just made a statement that I will vacate the bout, go up to 185 pounds and fight DDP, and I'll do that for Islam. So there's a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different storylines for these guys. So I don't know what your thought is on that, but I personally think it's silly from Belal, but I mean that's just me.
To each his own. May 10th, Jack Della Maddalena is going to be fighting for the UFC welterweight title in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. It's a change. Obviously, a lot of people was expecting Belal versus Shavkat, but unfortunately, Shavkat is injured, or he says he's something's wrong, so he couldn't take he said that was too short of a notice for him to take that fight. And so, of course, UFC moves on, and they're gonna go with JDM, Jack Della Maddalena.
How big of a shot do you give? I want you to analyze this fight here. Do you give? Obviously, I know you have beef with Belal. You don't remember his fucking name, but do you really give JDM a shot against a guy that mixes his fighting very well, that level changes, that striking, taking down, faking the takedowns, coming up top? Do you really give JDM a shot against Belal Muhammad?
I do. I absolutely do. I think this is a sleeper. He's a sleeper guy. Like I've seen him fight, and the one thing about it, I do know how to beat a guy like that. But the one thing about him is he's so relaxed to where it's very, very hard to beat him. It's very hard to beat him. When I say beat him, I don't mean just win the fight. It's very, very hard to discourage him from trying. There are some guys to where you can take down 50 million times, they're still going to keep trying to get up. And as wrestlers, we know how annoying that is. It's very, very hard to do that with a guy like Jack Della Maddalena. Now, I do think Belal has better grappling than him as far as taking him down, being on top, having top control, maybe looking for a choke here and there. But striking wise, I think JDM is much better than Belal. I think Belal will probably has kicks and all of those little strikes. But as far as throwing hands, as far as relaxation there, as far as setting the traps with the striking, I think JDM is definitely a little bit more seasoned or even better there in that aspect. But it's an intriguing fight. I don't think it's a landslide that Belal is going to win the fight. I do think it's a very intriguing fight. Honestly, I like the fight, and I can't wait to see it. I think JDM presents a different threat than what Belal was expecting.
Okay, so let me ask you, what are the keys to victory for a guy like JDM against Belal Muhammad?
Keys to victory for a guy like JDM, he's just got to mix it up. He's got to mix it up. When I say mix it up, I don't mean shooting him for takedowns and things like that. I mean, he's got to go forward and he's got to mix up his strikes. That's the one thing that I like about this guy. He's so relaxed. He sees the pressure come. He's able to sidestep or just kind of relax in there. He's not flustered too much about what's going on. If he gets tagged, he gets hit, he's okay with it. He knows how to set up the other strike. If you watch him in fights like the Gilbert Burns fight, Gilbert was winning that fight. Gilbert was taking him down, controlling him, but he never stopped trying. When he got up to his feet, he was able to land certain things to try to make him pay. And so he's done that in numerous fights. Now, you watch his earlier fights, he's able to let a fight build. And so that's why I give him a chance. And I do think he has cleaner striking with his hands than a guy like Belal. But Belal definitely is going to do the same thing that we've kind of grown accustomed to seeing him do, and it's something that I weaponized at a certain point in my career, and it's something that Colby Covington weaponized at a certain part of his career, and that's understanding that fatigue makes cowards of us all. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. You get tired enough, guess what? Yeah, you gonna break. And so he's wanting to implement that, put a lot of pressure on you to try to get you to make those mistakes and slowly start to wither and start to fade away as the rounds progress. So I like the fight. I'm intrigued by it. You know, I think it's obviously JDM is skipping a few guys ahead of him just to get this title shot now, but I'm not mad at that fight. I think they both needed a fight, and this is a fight. The only thing that I will mention, Henry, that I don't like is taking such a fight like this on your first fight back after such a long layoff. That's the one thing that I don't like.
Yeah, you talk
from JDM.
Oh, for JDM, yeah. But even Belal,
Right.
I mean, when was the last time that JDM fought?
JDM, it's been over a year. Remember, he had the staph infection that took him out for some time.
Okay, it was against Gilbert Burns. I want to say he was losing that fight too with Gilbert
March,
Burns.
he was losing that fight. Yep.
Yeah,
March.
he came back and TKO'd him. Okay, so that's
right.
No, it's gonna be a year. It's not a year yet, but it's gonna be a year.
Yeah, it's not a year yet.
But yeah, no,
So,
I don't think that's an issue. You know why? Because he's 26 years young. You know, I don't know enough about JDM. I've never really seen JDM in the nitty gritty. Besides that Gilbert Burns fight, I don't know, man. I like JDM. I like the sound of his Jack Della Maddalena. It makes me want to dance. But I just feel like Belal is just too much, bro. Belal is he's too experienced, man. I think he's too problematic with his mixing of his fighting, and I think he knows how to close distance very well. And not just that, but he's gotten better too on top. His top control, you know, working out with Khabib and all those guys, where he's been able to take a lot of that material. And I think I personally got Belal, man, winning by pretty much unanimous decision.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to see that fight. In other news, in London, since JDM is no longer now facing Leon Edwards in London, Sean Brady's going to step in, which is a big fight for Sean Brady. I think he's been on the cusp for a long, long time, and now he gets his opportunity to kind of step into that top 5 to be on that short list to potentially fighting for a title. So I like that one as well.
This is tricky, bro. So where does that leave the Nigerian Nightmare? Where does that leave some of those other contenders? Ian Gary, Joaquin, Buckley. I mean, where does that leave everybody there? I mean, is the winner of Sean Brady, Leon Edwards, does Sean Brady get a title shot? Or the Nigerian Nightmare, the greatest welterweight of all time, when he fights one of the top contenders and he wins, does he get the next title shot? There's a lot of questions here because you've got to remember too, man. Leon was on a crazy winning streak too, man, and obviously, he has 2 wins over you. So I feel like 170 pounds is very puzzled. So I feel like Belal Muhammad calling out DDP, like he hasn't fought any of those dudes. You know what I mean? He hasn't fought you. He's gonna fight JDM. He hasn't fought Rachmanov, Buckley. I mean, there's a lot of people there, dude. So
listen. If he wants to, if Belal wants to go up to and fight DDP, then he vacates the title. Who cares? He hasn't gone through the division to say, "Hey, I want double straps." No one cares.
Woo!
But this is not me trying to hate or anything or say anything negative about him. I'm not saying anything negative. If he wants to do that, that's fine. He can do that. But there's a plethora of guys there. There's all these new guys coming up. You've got JDM, you've got Sean Brady, you've got Joaquin Buckley, you've got Ian Gary if he's able to get back up on the winning column again. So yeah, and then you've got, don't forget, Jeff Neal and is on that short list as well. You've got the Nightmare, Carlos Prates is on his way up. You've got Marias, who will be fighting Burns as well soon. So there's guys coming that you haven't really gone through the division. But for me, to answer your question, Henry, as where does that leave me? Henry, with every one of those guys that I just mentioned, I am still bigger name than every one of them. And this is not me not being any way. I'm still the bigger name than all of them. I'm still there at the top 3 of the division. I go in and I beat up somebody. I mean, for the company's perspective, from my perspective, for a champion's perspective, whoever has the belt at that time, I think we all know who the right pick is to fight for that title. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'll just wait for my shot when it's time for me to go in there and spin again. I'm going to go in there and spin, If you want to win, put Booby in, And in this case, I'm Booby Miles. But, Henry, in other news, we got a good card, sneaky good card coming up this weekend. Listen, one of our favorites, one of my 2024 favorites, my dog, Manel Cop, is going back in there. They always entertaining, always dynamic. Manel Cop, always G'd up. Manel Cop taking on Asu at the Apex. It's going to be a phenomenal card as well. You've got Cody Brundage taking on Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis, I believe is his nickname.
Rude.
And, of course, the banging fight, Esteban Ribovic taking on Nasrat Hakparast. Hey, I think this fight should have been the co-main event.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I like this one right here.
Esteban's dangerous, bro. He's gifted, man. He's got power, his movements. I mean, this card, man, this is a really good fight night, man. Where's this fight night taking place tomorrow?
This is going to be at the Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. So it's the one thing that we forget, because that last fight from Esteban was such a banging fight. We forget this guy can kick as well. We forget, because you see his hand movement. We see his hands. His boxing is phenomenal. You forget this guy got kicks as well. Because the fight before that, who did he KO? He KO'd somebody. I think, was it Terrence McKinney that he KO'd with a head kick?
He did. Yeah, he did, man. This dude's movements are really, really good, man. I'm curious. I'm curious to see how far this guy could take it, man, because he's very gifted, man. Fight of the year of 2024. I mean, the dude is, the dude's a rising star.
I agree, Henry, and I can't wait to see it. That's going to be taking place this weekend in Las Vegas, the UFC Apex. And in other news, but honestly, I don't know if it's been announced yet. Has it been announced yet?
Yeah, you should.
Mohammed Usman taking on, let me read that name correctly. Let me read it correctly. I don't want to butcher the kid's name. Yeah, Hamdy Abdelwahab. And that's going to be taking place May 17th, 2025. This card is going to be taking place in Qatar.
Have you been to Saudi Arabia, Kamaru?
I've been to Saudi Arabia. I've not been to Qatar yet.
Oh.
So I'm excited for Mo to spin again. I'm excited, Henry, like I said, to watch you spin again whenever that moment arrives. Hopefully you get to heal and recover quickly. As am I. I'm excited for me to spin again. So,
May 17th, that'd be a good day, man.
We'll see.
I'm gonna see if I can get on something like that. I don't know, but I don't know if the
Hey,
UFC's too fond of me right now, dude.
You trying to slide to Qatar?
I mean, I like the date, dude. It can May 17th, enjoy the rest of the summer, dude. Like, I like to be out, bro, in the summer out here. June, July, August, dude, it's fucking hell in the cell out here, bro. In Phoenix, dude.
Yeah.
I know it's like that in Florida too. You guys get all muggy, sticky, swamp ass. Hell no.
Yeah. Hey. All right, Henry. As always, let's finish with our questions from a casual. Henry, this week, favorite thing to do the week after you finish your fight weekend? Certain types of food you like to, as you like to put it.
Man, that's dude, that's everything, bro. First of all, dude, I crave a nice freaking burger from Shake Shack, dude. That's one of the things that's the first thing that I had actually.
Shake Shack.
Yeah, I'm looking just indulge, man. Whether it's sushi, Shake Shack, I might do pizza. I might do maybe Five Guys. You want Five Guys?
Hey, you relax, Henry. You don't want to get back to where we were.
No,
you
for
don't want to
sure.
be
No,
plump
but
Henry anymore.
I'm just saying, bro. Like, I'm trying not to, man. I'm trying not to, but if I'm just throwing a lot of shit out there. But yeah, no, I like it all, man. Rice pudding for dessert. Party, dude. Oof. Yeah, when I was single, bro, hell yeah, man. I used to always take off to Mexico. I used to always, after every single fight, I used to always take off to Mexico with me, Kelvin, a bunch of like my good friends, Mario Delgado, Misael, Yair Rodriguez. We would all just go down to Mexico and just party, dude. And it was just like, this is not, we weren't like, I mean, what I'm saying? Just having fun. It was just us, dude. Like it's like boys being boys. You know what I'm saying?
Henry, I've actually never taken a trip with just the boys.
No way.
I don't think I've ever.
Dude,
I don't think I've ever
best,
done
bro.
I know. I hear about it all the time.
You can't it's cool, man, because you just
Yeah, you know what? I can't. I don't think I can't remember ever going on a trip with just the guys.
Well, you know what we gotta do, bro? We gotta do a bachelor party for you, dude.
Relax, bro. Relax. Hey, we'll talk about it. Maybe a P4P, boys trip. Maybe invite one or two guests from previous season. We'll see what's going on with that. But for me personally, favorite thing to do. Man, I like to come home, just hide in my house, order Thai food, and just watch movies or shows with my daughter. And that's it with my family. That's it.
Love is blind. I know you.
Hey, why you put me out there like that, dog? Hey, chill. But yeah, that's what I like to do. That week it's just a week of me decompressing and just getting back to normal from being that hard fighter guy. Because Henry, that's a different frequency when you get up to go to a fight and you become, you become that Aztec warrior. That's a different frequency that your body's vibrating on because you have to be this warrior, this killer. And so it takes some time to decompress from that. And I noticed that years ago. I need some time to come back to Kamaru Usman and not just the Nigerian Nightmare. But my man, as always, You know, make sure that you tune in this weekend. UFC Fight Night taking place at the Apex in Las Vegas. We've got my dog, Manel Kopp, taking on Asu Amabayev. What a fight, Henry. Well, make sure you tune in to that. But as always, I am the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
And we are out.